And the speakers. Does your video, it has sound?
It does.
Okay, so then I'm gonna give you the sound.
Okay.
For the speakers, there's 2 speakers right here. And that way it can kind of broadcast. Set. There is. It's just a. It's stuck. There you go. Yeah.
How are you?
So.
Yep. We do come out of money bag. That's all right. It's got me out of. Yes.
And let test.
Your money bag. Who are you with?
Each day, 5,760 children being born, living helplessly in their home and tragically left.
Did I do something?
Yeah. No, it was me.
That was good. Okay.
So great to see that.
Great.
That's a thing. I was searching for my email, but it's just. I thought the same thing when I filled her. Where'd John miss it? Back up.
Okay. No doubt, right?
64. Oh, this morning. Go ahead and that.
Oh,
No.
Chili's right.
Hello, Barb. No money yet.
How are you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we don't have.
Oh,
Maybe he'll be here next. So maybe he turned around when he saw the whole parking lot and thought, oh, this is nice.
What school are you from?
Well,
Very cool. What year?
what was that?
What year? Are you? Cool. We played with Mason Jones on our AAU team. Yeah, he's real good. Indiana All-Star. So same with our son. He plays at Culver. And then if I need to move this. Presentation. So. Yeah, they've got a big contingent coming too. They've got people coming too.
Okay. All right.
So
Presume then they'll be.
yes, so do you want to write down your stuff with these guys just so we can get you?
Come on. Did you mind supplying some information for me? Yeah. Yeah.
I'll bring it right back.
Okay, thank you.
So need another.
So far, and I think we have also seen.
Or we are.
Yeah. Baker's not living. But
Hey there.
came home
Hey there.
with 2 weeks for it, so weeks. Wow, that's so she's next to the girl.
You see,
Sure.
Last year, sure, I don't know, it's probably in 2 hours old. And it was. I'm both trying to go, but not so.
Nice.
But I used to leave the house. Project said, Mark, I don't do it. She said, and she was.
So.
Picking up, so it's. During those 2 weeks, it's like they were divided some barely little mirrors. She's very stuff. That's been down. I just had the email artist for now. It's done. It's Friday and shit. Yeah. Yeah, well done.
Well, yes. You're supposed to be like, yeah. Step back here. And. There's probably, I can hear this.
I'm just here to see it. They're gonna run. They're gonna. With Valpo.
So we call him a hometown.
Yes.
Yeah, well, here, walking. And I'm on the bridge here. One of these officers coming out, like, all the well, since back, and the bus was gonna go across the wire.
This is what you're. It's free on the grants.
Yeah, but the one you got, I was here, I reached it. I couldn't get off, see it. To me, it's like, I think it was, but I was all the walk around my there. There's 20,000 sure, I get lost in that house. So yeah, to my surrender. I can often area. I can even. That's all the kids, yeah, see, still behind you. Or brings out students, there's those stairs where you try to start. It's definitely. Yeah, here's the trail artists. I don't know about more things, always got it's thoughts, regulation. Anyways, so much of that. There's all things, so very ready. But they're like, you know, just really important. Yeah. I'm really interested in well.
Now I'm ringing like. Hi, welcome to today's meeting. Great to see all your faces. And thank you to Garner Tullis and Scott Yaney for being our greeters today, and our faithful secretary checking everybody in. Rick Urschel, almost forgot your name, but you're special. And social media today, it's Greg Farrell again. And so we will start with all of you joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. Who's leading the National Anthem today? Rick Urschel. Not me. I can handle the pledge. I pledge you to United States, to the Republic, which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we did at the twilight's last beat, whose rough stripes and bright stars through the sun, for the rank of hearts we watched were so gallantly streamed. And the rockets red and fire, while Oscars singing there, they grew through the night. And our flag was still there. Oh, say, Thomas, and suffer standing. And yeah. Lord, the land and go free. And the home of the brave.
Thank you. And Diane Jordan will come lead us in the invocation.
Such a lovely day out. Snows are melting or have melted. Spring has come. This Rotary year is almost done. As we reflect on the projects from this year, upon our activities, both far and near, we're thankful for successes enjoyed. We're thankful for resources employed in the service of others, in the service of peace. For in serving others, our joy increases. Amen.
Thank you, Scott Yaney and Scott Law. I bet you have a list of visitors for us today. Great.
Would John Kroger please stand? Thank you. Dawn, you have with you Troy Rose, who is joining us again today. So thank you, Troy. He is from Centeer Bank, where he is a trust administrator. So if we could all say hello and welcome to Troy. Thank you. James Young, you have Matt Willingham with you today. Matt is a student pastor at Heartland Christian Center. We're happy to have you here today, and if we could all say hey, hello to Matt. Hey, Matt. All right. Next, we have, I think, Dylan Dalton, but also Greg Barrell. We have two gentlemen, Mark Ann Leitner and Connor Butler. I could have you. There you are. Mark and Connor are both with Carson Wealth. Mark is a partner and Connor is an advisor. They both have expressed interest in becoming members, so I'd like to especially welcome them today. Hi, Mark. Say hello. Sorry. I also have a couple of folks that are going to be speaking, but they signed in with us, so I want to introduce them right now. Likewise, they are guests via Dylan Dalton, Greg Farrell. We have Maciel Brito and Ruby Salgado. If we'd extend a warm welcome and say hello to Ruby and Maciel.
Hi, Brian. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much.
And we do have a student guest here today, and Jim Spanopoulos will come introduce him.
Don't be afraid to sing. That's fine.
Talking about Ryla, one of our students is here today, and he's here to tell us a little bit about himself. What do you like to do in life, and also what he learned at Ryla. I talked about leadership, these young people, and I'm so impressed to see them. We only had 62 this year because of COVID, but normally we have about 115 of them. Okay, Martin, we'll talk to you.
Well, hello, everyone.
Oh.
Having a bit of a bad hair day, but
It happens every day. That's hot. We're all jealous. Let's keep it rolling, man. We hadn't noticed.
all right. So yeah, my name is Martin. I go to Valparaiso High School. I'm going to be the vice president of the Interact Club there this year.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm in the top 10 in the class of 24, my class rank. I plan to go to Purdue for this year. In my free time, other than doing homework and learning, I like to hang out with my friends. I like to volunteer and spend my time in the community. At Ryla, I think one of the most important things I learned was servant leadership as opposed to like a dictatorship or something like that. That's not exactly preferable, but setting a good example for those that work for you or those that work with you is probably what I would think the best way to achieve the goal, especially in the sense of what Rotary stands for in the 4-way test for like service and making money. I think my favorite part about Ryla was just Camp Tecumseh. Like, it's a cool place. They have a cool bridge there. You've never seen it. It's really wobbly. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. So thank you.
Sponsor you at the Rotary Youth Leadership Academy. Here's your certificate. We'd like to offer you more leadership training on importance of self-leadership and how successful people win. Thank you for representing us well. Thank you, Jim, for helping out. Couple general announcements. Wednesday night is the Salute to the Troops event sponsored by the Kiwanis Club. Is anybody here planning to be part of that? Great. They've asked Rotary to say a few words, so I'll be there too with you. So if anybody would like to go, you can check out the Kiwanis Facebook page for ticket information. Also, June 30th will be our Changing the Guard. Is there any news on that? Any announcements to make on that? Tickets soon? Okay. And I would like to thank those who were scheduled to help with the Children's Leadership Conference, our day of caring as a Rotary Club last week. And then when we had to abruptly change the date for a week later, those who helped out, I truly appreciate it. Barb, Doug Watkins, Deb Good, Annetta, and Rob Morin, myself, who else was there? Anyway, we handled all 30 children just fine, a last minute change around on everything. Okay, Sergeant at Arms, Jonathan Kraft, come lead us.
Okay, good news. Actually, I should ask, does everyone want to take a guess what his good news is before? I could have guessed.
My fourth great grandson arrived this morning at Vanderbilt Hospital in Nashville.
Every other week he has a new grandkid. We don't know where they keep coming from. We have so many. Yes.
I have two things of good news. One, I'll talk about Deb's topic in just a second. But I'm in a performance chorus called the Great Lakes Sound Chorus, and every year, other than during 2 years during the pandemic, we compete at a regional level against all the other choruses, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Illinois. And in our small chorus division, we took first place and we took fourth overall. So that was just really a cool thing. We just found that out on Friday. Secondly, is I was a part of the event on Friday where we were at the Boys and Girls Club in Chesterton with those 30 young aspiring leaders. And so interesting to be around 9-year-old boys and girls, and how you remember what their topic of conversation is, like poop and diarrhea, right? And really funny. But it was such a great program. We had so many different activities, but the video that Deb showed of a young gentleman who was born without arms and legs, and how he talked about how he was teased and how he just overcame all those obstacles. And I think he was such an inspiration to these young kids. And boy, if he can do that, then they pretty much can do anything. And the second one was the kindness connection, and talking about what can you do to connect with people. And there were a number of different ways for all, how these children can connect with their parents or their family. So that was really great. The last thing we did this activity where we made, all the kids made these little they decorated these fun things, and we gave them, it was like a service project for them to give as a gift. And we are going to give those to Martin to deliver to the residents at Pines Village. So that was just a really wonderful event. And anytime we do something like this again, I would really encourage you to consider being a part of it, because boy, such a heartwarming time to spend with those kids. Thanks.
You paid advance.
Yeah, they don't hear me. I stand up. There we go. So my first bit of good news was thanks to Doug and I guess Doug Busby and Sharon Kish were also at the district conference. I didn't get a chance to see you. I get to saw Doug. So my good news was that I got to take part in my first district conference. It was a lot of fun. Learned a lot. Went into a full-on panic when they were talking about some of the leadership things on Saturday morning. About everything that you need to learn about with the system. So breathe into a paper bag. Everything's good there. I'm going to pay my $20 when Warner shows up, because I want to make sure that everybody knows about the VNA Hops for Hospice, Saturday, June 4th, Porter County Expo Center. We're still looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to come out and help pour beer or just be ambassadors, or if you want to buy a ticket, come out and drink some really good beer. So we'd love to have you come out. Thank you.
Again, he's looking for volunteers to pour beer, not drink beer. So there you go. But you can buy the beer. Oh, anyone else want to district? Do you want to stand up?
Let us know who is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just take a minute because I know we have a long program, but I have to say that this is one of the best district conferences that I've been to. The speakers were inspiring. We met a woman who survived because she had a heart surgery paid for by Rotary in India, and she is now past district governor in India because she had that surgery. But it was just very inspiring, and it was really nice to be together after 2 years when no one could get together. So I'm glad I went. I'm glad the other folks went, and encourage you all to go next year.
Thank you.
Really quick, last Wednesday was the scholarship night at the high school, and I had that's the first time I've ever been there. My daughter received a scholarship, a local scholarship, and I got to see Doug present not only the Rotary scholarships, which were super fun to watch them actually get handed out, and I knew a lot of kids receiving them and they didn't even know that, but then also your family's scholarship. That was awesome. Very, very cool to be a part of that.
Thank you.
Many of you suggested to me that I write a book about my professional experiences in life, because there is a long history and they have been interesting. So here's the book just published by Amazon, My Experiences in Medicine, Theology, and Along the Way. At the beginning, I was one of those people who was in the right stuff moment in Lovelace Clinic in Albuquerque
with the astronaut program, went on to testing the Apollo spacesuit, be the first medical director of Continental Airlines, time over in Vietnam with their CIA operated component. This was followed by time with the Federal Aviation Administration and time in Washington as a fiddler surgeon when I was involved with 2 hijackings and from the control room, that is, in the FAA, medical director of Medicare for Illinois, and then a scientific writer for Medtronic. Meanwhile, I was into theology pretty heavily. That's time for a minute.
Anyone else with good news? Anybody else? Okay, I always give you the fun and, oh, back, yes. Oh, you.
I can say it real quick. I've got another Purdue grad in our family. My daughter Kitty graduated with the final.
All right.
Congrats.
Bill Hank.
You're still got to go to work. There you go.
Yes.
Anyone else? So other kind of, I always like to give you the fun auction facts, and you guys might have seen an interesting article last week. It's been leaking. It leaked about 10 days ago about a car Mercedes sold. Yes, everyone's seen it. So fun. If you hadn't seen it, Mercedes had one of 2 race cars ever built. It's a Gullwing race car that they had built, sold at a private auction for 135 million euros, so 142 million dollars, roughly, which puts it as the highest selling car ever, period, and one of the top 10 pieces ever sold at auction. But the funny part of it, they give you a little backstory to it, because it was so private that they couldn't tell anyone about it. They only invited 20, it was about 20 people they invited to come see the car. The original leak story came out, and I texted over to my buddy at RM Sotheby's and said, man, this would have been a great car to have for Monterey. And he just texted back. He's like, yeah, it would have been. And didn't really say much about it. Well, then last Thursday, they finally came out and said, we're the ones who sold it. And it was a real auction. It was a live auction. They had 10 phone bidders, and they had like 5 people in the crowd, but they never showed the crowd. And it was pretty quick and easy. But Mercedes is doing a cool thing with it. They took all of the money, and it's actually going into a scholarship fund, and they're going to do a world scholarship fund for it. So if you're worried about a recession, there's still people paying $140 million for one car. So the world is A-okay. So there you go.
Thank you, Mr. Kraft. So while Greg comes to introduce our program, I want to know if Doug Watkins has anything to say about being surrounded by 30 children for 3 hours on Friday night. Thank you so much for stepping in. Okay, Greg, ready.
Thank you. Okay, I wanted to introduce our guest today in our presentation. Greg Farrell, past president. If you don't know me, you know a little bit about my kids. I'm very, very proud dad. And we have a text in our Farrell family text group that always starts with it. Today is a good day to have a good day. So today is a good day to have a good day. I was feeling really good about myself today until Dr. Busby decides to stand up and make a statement. So thanks for that. But today is a very good day because I get to introduce a foundation that is an incredible place called Maestro Cares. So Maestro Cares' mission is it improves the quality of life for disadvantaged children and communities in Latin America and the United States. A little bit of background: in 2011, Zadie Cardenas, who is now an MCF executive director, was volunteering in an orphanage in the Dominican Republic. And for many years, despite limited resources, the orphanage had really provided a safe, nurturing home for young girls. She discovered that the boys were living in the same home. They were actually living in a home separate of the girls. And she wanted to see this situation firsthand. She realized that there were over 40 children living in a 3-bedroom house with very limited resources. So with the help of her father, Henry Cardenas, who's CEO and president of the Cardenas Marketing Group, they paired together with singer and actor Mark Anthony and began Maestro Cares in 2012. Things have moved very, very fast since that time. Maestro Cares Foundation is engaged in educational programs in Peru and opened up new projects in Colombia, Bolivia, Mexico, Puerto Rico, Guatemala, Chile, El Salvador, Costa Rica, and the United States. There's much work to do, but they'll go over their presentation. They were a grant recipient, not only from our club, but also from the district, which we were able to do under Deb's leadership as president. And with that, I'd like to introduce Maciel Brito and also Ruby Salgado from the Maestro Cares Foundation. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having us here today. Thank you, Greg and Dylan. We just want to do a little presentation of Maestro Cares, tell you guys what we're all about, the amazing work that we're doing. This year, we're celebrating 10 beautiful years of amazing work. So we'll go ahead and start, and then maybe we can answer some questions if you guys have it, okay? So we have a little video to kind of start things off.
Stone, 5,760 children become orphans, living helplessly without a home and tragically left without a childhood. Today, there are an estimated 210 million orphans worldwide. Out of these children, 8 million will end up in the care of institutions, orphanages, and foster programs, or there is home. Our goal is to help orphan children throughout Latin America by creating healthy and safe environments for them to live, learn, and play. United, we can give these children reasons to use words like family, love, joy, and laughter to describe their childhood. Let's give each child a chance at childhood. Let's give them a chance at life. Join us at maestrocares.org, and together we can change lives and build dreams.
Getting into it, who we are as a foundation, as Greg had mentioned, we were founded in 2012 by Mark Anthony and Henry Cardenas. We basically want to improve the quality of life of children, disadvantaged children, and communities by providing housing, educational program, and any essential resources. Yes?
Some of us are hard of hearing. Could you speak a little closer to the mic?
Absolutely. Now, is that good? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. So we want to make sure that we provide safe and loving environments for children to grow up and have a healthy development. And so we do that by providing like housing, educational programming, and the essential resources that they may need in order to make sure that they have these loving and safe environments. We have helped over 10,000 children in 13 different countries. In the past 10 years, we've grown to 25 amazing projects, which we'll kind of go a little bit into that now. And we also have a scholarship program where we've awarded over $100,000 in scholarships for universities and colleges. And right now we're at 16 scholarship recipients and continue to grow it. So we're very proud of that. Our mission is to improve the quality of life of disadvantaged children and communities, not just here in the United States, but also in Latin America. Our vision is to help, these children in the community so that by creating these safe and loving environments, they can grow, for them to live, learn, or play, and they can grow to be the leaders that we look for in our world. So a little bit more about our projects. We started with orphanages. That was kind of like the main thing. We started with an orphanage in the Dominican Republic, and then we went and continued doing orphanages. We have orphanages, right now we have 6 orphanages in Colombia, Mexico, and Puerto Rico. And then as well, we continued our work in Mexico with the second orphanage there. We also have in Bolivia and in another one in Cali, Colombia as well. The one in Cali, Colombia actually grew. We did the first phase and then continued expanding so that they can be able to accommodate even more children. Aside from orphanages, we also have temporary home placements, and this can vary from like foster care homes or like children that have been completely removed from their families for legal purposes. And now, have this safe and loving home with like a foster parent where they're provided for with like education, any extracurricular activities, or any resources that they may need in order to, again, just grow into being positive adults. We also have community centers in Guatemala, in Colombia, also here in the United States. And this is kind of like our video here in Chicago. And this is where we kind of received one of the funds that the Rotary so generously granted to Master Cares, where we went. So this community center, serves the SOS Children Villages in Illinois. They're a foster care system foundation, and they focus on keeping siblings together. And so this center basically provides them with not just the kids from this village, how they call it, but also the surrounding communities with resources that they can access, different workshop tutors, extracurricular activities, and really just kind of like a support for the foster parents. Some of the homes have between 5 to 8 children. So imagine this in your homes with just one foster parent. And so the village and this community center kind of provides the support that they need in order to, be able to provide, a safe and loving and positive environment for these children. We also have, in terms of educational program, this educational program that we started with in Peru. It's called Project Mava, where a few universities got together and created this basic program for disadvantaged children, and that kind of grew first in Lima and then into Cusco. And then we also opened schools. We have 3 schools in Guatemala, a very disadvantaged community in a place, the community called Jalapa. And there they have like just from kindergarten all the way until high school, and they benefit over 3,000 children in this community. But the beautiful thing about the schools is that it's not just a school for the students, but also a very nice center for the parents to come and partake in different like workshops of how to be better parents. What are the different things that they can offer their children in order to provide, the necessary educational programming. We also have baseball fields or recreational fields and a rehabilitation center. The rehabilitation center focuses for children and young adults with discapacities. And then the baseball fields is very interesting because we joined together forces with UNICEF. And after Hurricane Maria and Irma in 2017, a lot of these baseball fields, in a lot of places in Puerto Rico, were destroyed. And so we went in there with them and reconstructed. It was part of a larger program where they reconstructed 25 baseball fields. And now it's not just for the Little League program, which is very big and powerful in the country, but also it serves like a place where, the community can gather in order to, just have some time outside and enjoy recreational time with their.
See, Marianne, on that, what was interesting about that is we partnered with Javi Baez at the Cubs at the time,
Yes.
who came into the country, supported the rehab. Think about the children lost all. These bench ball fields were just wiped out. I mean, aside from Ponce taking a direct hit in the country, so to partner with the Cubs, to go to Javi Baez, who said, you know what, Maestro, I want to partner with you. I've heard all these great things. Put the orphanage in there first for the boys. And then, when we were there, we asked specifically, I did, as I'm getting this beautiful tour in town, when was the last time Ponce has been hit by a hurricane? This was 2 months before. He said, 1912, we're in the south of the country. We don't take direct hits. Because I was admiring all these beautiful doors on the buildings and the town square. It was just stunning. Cut the ribbon, we opened the orphanage, and thankfully from a partner, Technoglass out of Colombia, they had put in hurricane-proof glass and doors at their cost. which probably saved the lives of our children that we had there when the storm hit. And all these baseball fields were wiped out, so we're starting to get direct engagement with professional baseball players that want to make a difference. Today, Mariano Rivera, the all-time great closer of the New York Yankees, is probably getting ready to partner with Maestro Cares. He said, it's taken me 7 years. I've wanted for 7 years to build an orphanage in Panama, but I haven't been able to find a partner that I trust. And so today, our CEO, Henry Cardenas, is out there with Mariano Rivera and some other celebrity guests for this golf outing, and that partnership will come together. So we're between music, between athletes, David Ortiz, Big Papi, we just recognized him at our gala this past December with an award that was there, and alongside Will Ferrell, who took one of our awards for all the work he's done with Cancer for College. We're starting to merge some of these celebrities and actors to use their visibility to be able to come in, draw funds to make a difference. And this, in the project in Chicago, was special. Goya Foods shop there, Goya comes in and puts in commercial kitchens at these projects. We may have some pictures here, we may not, but that Chicago facility in the middle of Roosevelt Square, it's actually Blue Island. So it's not too far from, I'm trying to think, that's St. Ignatius High School, 2 blocks south of there. You now have children and families coming in, learning how to cook in the most amazing professional kitchen you've seen. And they live in food deserts. They, in a lot of cases, they don't have access to a local jewel or market that's there. So, it's much more than just the orphanages that are happening. We're starting in Houston with Goya Foods is looking to do something in Houston. So some American cities, US-based cities, where we can start making a difference in the community. And that it's not an orphanage, but it's a place for safety for them to come in, a safe haven, place to do homework, place to have a sense of community, and a brand new building to be able to socialize and learn another trade. So big piece around food with Goya. Sorry to interject.
Thank you so much for that. I think it's important to mention that a lot of the projects that we do, or most of them, are with the amazing support of wonderful corporations and companies like Goya Foods, like Technoglass. We receive so much support, and I think that the growth that we've seen in the last 10 years has definitely been possible because of these amazing supporters. And I think that, sometimes we underestimate the value and the impact that infrastructure has on people. And, when you go into a very disadvantaged community and you build them something nice, and you provide them with different resources, that definitely makes, it gives an impact, it makes an impact. It really does change lives and motivates people to continue their dreams and to actually, go for them. It's kind of continuing a little bit on the projects, what we have in progress right now. We have another temporary pediatric home in Peru and in Chile. Those are due to be ready now at the end of summer. We are partnering up with World Central Kitchen as well, and doing school kitchens in Guatemala. We're doing a daycare center and community center in Argentina. We're doing another community center in New York. That's going to be very big as well, because it's going to serve not just the foundation for the Lower East Side Girls Club, but also the Lower East Side community, which is in very much need of public resources. And so this center is going to serve not just the girls of that foundation, but also the surrounding communities. We're going to continue working on a vocational center in Cali, Colombia. This is going to be like a technical university with children with disabilities. And so we also have another temporary placement home in San Jose, Costa Rica. So all of these projects are due to be done before the end of the year, and we're very excited to kind of see them come through. As Dylan mentioned, our main focus this year is to continue our work here in the United States. Our focus is in finding a project in Houston, and then probably something else here in Chicago as well. I mentioned as well our scholarship program. I think this has been the biggest program. Even throughout COVID, we were able to kind of maintain all of our projects. Some of them had to stop construction, but we were still able to kind of support them in different ways with the different resources that they needed. But the scholarship program kind of continued growing just because I think that the need for scholarships is, very so present more than ever. And so we're very passionate about the scholarship program. It started in 2015. And so we went from having like one scholarship recipients a year to being able to fund 16 scholarship recipients a year. And we would cover not just like their whole, let's say, tuition, but also provide additional funding for like housing, books, any type of mentorship that we were able to connect them with as well, and then any internship and volunteering opportunities as well. And that's kind of it. I would like to bring Dylan to continue here a little bit more and answer with me any questions that any of you may have.
Thank you, Maciel. Dylan, you want to introduce yourself? I will. That's exactly what I'm in there. My name is John Dalton. I was invited here by Greg Farrell, who I had the pleasure of, we could tell Greg Farrell stories. I went to Palmer Military Academy, but we don't have enough time. I know I get the hard hook. I'll come back for that later. I have the privilege of having my father, Tom Dalton, here. My father, you start to tie it in. I'm a Valparaiso resident, moved out here about 20 years ago, retired a couple of years ago after 28 and a half years with Bank of America, formerly LaSalle Bank, and was a member of the Rotary Club in Franklin Park, Illinois. The benefit of being there was all the pilots made up at the Franklin Park chapter that were at O'Hare. So the stories that I would get from the pilots were just fantastic. So I never missed a meeting because all these pilots would be in and they could tell you whatever they like. Had the privilege, so Dad, being a Rotary member and president in Dowagiac, Michigan, Southwest Michigan, I got pulled along to some meetings as a young kid, was intimidated, didn't know what was going to happen, afraid I would have to speak. But you fast forward from that, and next thing you know, I'm in Nigeria doing water wells, polio vaccinations in Nigeria, in Haiti. We're packing an ambulance that was donated that has the Rotary symbol on the side of it. We put all the supplies in. Then we drove it to Miami to be shipped to Leogan. He still resents the fact that I flipped the lights on in Atlanta in the middle of rush hour when I said, I've always wanted to do this. And he said, you can't. I said, oh, yes, I can. So we rolled right through Atlanta with no stops on our way to Miami. That's after he slept the first hour, went to the back of the ambulance and strapped himself in the stretcher. About 15 minutes into the ride and realized I was going to drive to Louisville with him in the back of the ambulance. So I digress from Rotary being a very important part of my life. And I had the privilege of being asked by Henry Cardenas and Mark Anthony 11 years ago. They said, we want to start this foundation. I said, well, I need to know that you're going to be involved. You're just not going to be a face to this. He said, no, this changes. He said, what I've seen down in La Romana is life-changing with these boys that are living in this home. And I said, my only advice is on the first orphanage, please don't do it in your first country. It'll look very self-serving. First of all, it's so nice to see some friends in the room here. I'm making eye contact with a few of you. And so we launched that project, and it was for the boys, Goya and Technoglass and all these wonderful partners, and built a beautiful campus there. So I've had the privilege of taking my family there, my daughters, texting. I just spoke with one of our young boys who's no longer a boy, who's in the single A program for the Toronto Blue Jays, Mr. Dalton. It's all Spanish communication. Will you come see me next week when you're in Florida? We have a boy that's raised in the orphanages now, has the opportunity to potentially be a professional baseball player. What a wonderful story that would be. We realize that not all of them are become professional baseball players. We want them to be contributing citizens and get a fair chance of life. I have a few minutes left here. Toluca, Mexico is very special as well. It's an all-girls orphanage, taking the girls out of the downtown area into this beautiful piece of property. So we secure the piece of property, we build, which takes about a year. The workers at the Toluca property had 2 days off in a 365-day build. I said, I just want to know what you do on your 2 days off. Maybe I don't want to know, but it was, you could see it in their eyes, and the paint was wet at the grand opening. But for 90 girls in Toluca, which
We had children here packing bags, from the dance studio. We realized we can't take all these children with us to see this, but you know what? They bring in their favorite stuffed animal. We go and we buy new pajamas for them, possessions, a toothbrush being so important to a child. And we fly it down there, we take it in, we open it up, they get it, you send those pictures back, you use social media. A lot of challenges with youth and social media these days, but the connectivity that a child can see another child holding their favorite stuffed animal or a new pair of pajamas or a toothbrush, or it's just, my daughter, my younger one, stuck 100 bottles of fingernail polish into the duffel bags. Well, they're not supposed to have fingernail polish. Well, how can a director say no when all this fingernail polish comes out? So the hardest part is the girls always ask, when they don't ask for anything else, when are you coming back? And I can't get my family to leave. That's the tough part. You be there for 4 or 5 hours. And then I have to be the bad person that says, okay, it's time to go. And just the affinity that's built, the respect that Americans have. You think about the US, how generous and how gracious we are with our time, with our supplies, service above self. You think about the 4-way test. These countries understand that. I don't care if you're in Cali, Colombia, Barranquilla, Toluca, Guadalajara. These are first-class facilities that are being built. So I think our partners are always asking. 5 minutes for questions. 5 minutes for questions. Our partners are always asking, where does the money go? And I've had the privilege to take Dad with me to half of these projects that we've seen there. We kick the tires, we see them through construction. We're going back into, Costa Rica right now. It's what, 2/3 finished. And so if you're ever going to one of these countries, please look up Maestro Cares. We'd love for you to visit. See one of our projects, go out there for a couple hours, kick the tires, be involved. So I'll pause with that. I had a few more Rotary stories, but it's all come full circle, and it's interesting being here today and to have my father here with me and the impact at a young age of what Rotary had on me to fast forward 30 years later. And this is, I don't have to wear a suit anymore. Suit and tie, I get to wear something that says Maestro Care. So
We'll send you a membership application.
well, questions?
Any questions for?
Yes, sir.
How do the children become orphaned in the first place? I know there's different circumstances.
Question. Take an earthquake. So not particular to Maestro Cares, but we have an orphanage in Camp Haitian in Haiti. 90 of the children were orphaned on that one day in the second week of January 2010. 72 children that are orphaned because of an earthquake that's there. I've been there to witness when a child is dropped off, quote unquote, dropped off by a distant relative. The parents have either trafficked the child, sold. We have a story of a girl that's been, quote unquote, sold 3 times. I mean, just brings absolute tears to your eyes. Various reasons. Family can't take responsibility for the child. Child's been abandoned. And it's not just infants. Obviously, we get infants, but we have 9-year-olds dropped off to become part of the project. So I would say hurricanes, earthquakes, family difficulties, or no sense of family. Great question, though. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Once the projects are completed, how involved is Maestro Cares after that?
So in dealing, take Barranquilla, for example, was turned over to the Catholic Church in the diocese. So we had Mark Anthony, we had Carlos Vives there that day, for some of you that may know, and there's the Pope, or the bishop that acted like the Pope, and it was and the mayor and everybody's a fan of Mark Anthony. So it's a very interesting dynamic that happens there. But the goal for Maestro Cares is not to run the day-to-day operations, to turn it over. In most cases, we try to avoid the government. In most of these, they don't show up till the end, and they want to be there for the ribbon cutting and handshaking that takes place. We try to build these and have a primary partner that's going to be there at the very end to take the keys, and then have somebody run the program that's there as well. So it's the program for the children. Good.
Let's see, afterwards, even once we're finished, we continue communications with them. If they need additional resources, to expand. For example, we have over 3 of our projects that have expanded their infrastructure to be able to accommodate more children. Also, if they have like an educational program, if they have kids that want to go to college, anything in terms of like funding that they may need, we're kind of just a like silent partner. They continue giving us the different updates throughout, the year. And whenever they need support, we're there for them. I mean, we don't just construct and leave them there. We support them even afterwards. And we want to see them grow. We wanted them to call us back and be like, hey, we have more kids. We need, to continue expanding.
From, and then 7 students graduate from university, and Carlos Slim said, you provide a child that wants to go to college, we will pay for college. So to have 6 children come out and be graduates of college, some will go into the labor industry and work in the hotels. We're just trying to create lives for these children that they can have a sense of, belonging at the end. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, we have a presentation for them, and I'm just going to take the liberty of reading this Bible verse. Religion that God, our Father, accepts as pure and faultless as this, to look after the orphans and the widows. John? And Sharon?
Sure.
Okay, so this was the grant written last year during Dawn's presidency. So we are set, I'm speaking for Dawn, to present this check for $4,000 for the mission of Maestro Cares. At 1 minute in closing, Sharon is going to. Yeah, you've got.
Congratulations again on just a wonderful grant and a really successful project. And as many of you know, that I am now the district grant chair. So I get to come and give the reimbursement check to our club of $3,000 for last year's district grant. So congratulations. And this is your foundation dollars at work that you give for every Rotarian every year. Your share fund, not only did you support these grants, I told Deb this morning, her grant for this year, coming year, has been approved, which is going to do another leadership conference for kids. And it supports the Rival program, Martin, that you went to, and it supported Ashley Bowen, who just was our candidate to go for summer scholarship programs. So when Jonathan or your club president or somebody says, do your every Rotarian every year, please give. Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you, Sharon.
We need to think about a global grant because if you're in that many countries, that'd be
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, okay.
So just to add to that, I know a lot of you have been contacted and have been very generous about giving to the Rotary International. We are very close to getting back to our $100 per person average for this year. We even need to go above that in order to qualify for coming grants because with the COVID years and the last 2 years, we fell below. So if anybody would like to contribute extra before the end of June, we'd appreciate that.
And there is a match. There is a match right now through the end of June for $1 per dollar up to I think it's $50,000. So if you give now, you will be matched in points and your gift will be matched.
Oh, okay. If you give now, your points and gift will be met. When did that start?
So they
Starting now.
somebody made a gift of $1,000. That's the match.
Okay, great, great. Okay, so let's stand to close. Next week, we won't be here due to Memorial Day and fallen soldiers. On June 6th, we'll have Leslie Plesac talk about Sinai Forum and new member inductions. And on June 13th, we're calling it a power panel coming. So look forward to that. Okay, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it false? Will it build goodwill and better hardships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? And is it wrong?
MJ. That's it. I'm good. Sure, sir.
Exactly, yeah, and I think it's honestly talking about it.
Right. Email us.
Maybe.
Thanks so much for great.
Great job.
Coaches from the side to get my.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, now for
I want to come. Yeah, I'll grab Dylan. And that way I can. Great job.
And then one getting married. Apple tree, I mean, smart lady. She doesn't always doing this stuff. I can't keep up with her.
We're gonna end it.